Hi there, this is Dirk Detillion, just going over my Prezi presentation about the standardized testing. Let's start out with the introduction. Standardized testing is with specific characteristics. The test usually has a scoring system that compares an individual score to the scores of a specific population or people. The overview of standardized testing, starting with the history and current practice in education. Well, there are three kinds of main standardized testing used in the education system today. The first is standardized achievement test. The second is standardized aptitude test. And the third is standardized screening and diagnostic test. So how is it administered? Well, one, it's prescribed directions for giving the test, arrange the room, and scoring to make sure it's administered properly. Next, the information must be read ahead of time. This, of course, is just to make the teacher familiar with how to administer the test. The third, make sure that the children have all the required materials for the test ahead of time. This can keep things on task, as most of these tests have very specific timelines in place, so you definitely want to make sure you're organized for that. Next, the test will have a Q&A section to field student questions appropriately. Well, this is important because kids get nervous about testing, as well as teachers, and there's specific questions that they're going to want answers to make them feel more at ease. This will help with that. Finally, of course, the last one, make students feel at ease and know that test creates high anxiety levels for them. That's the last thing. You want an environment of comfort and safe haven to take the testing. So the reason we use it, well, standardized testing is primarily used for two reasons. The first is to assess the student's individual abilities. The next, it's used as an approach for accountability on the educators themselves. So how is the data used? Well, one, it's used to reveal trends in teacher accountability. Next, it's used to adjust emphasis or curriculum content, kind of course correction if things aren't going right based off the assessment results. And the third, it's used to help parents understand their child's level of education. That's important. It has to be done very carefully because you have to keep in mind different ethnic backgrounds, where they come from. It's not a one-size-fits-all model, so you definitely have to know your students. So is standardized testing a good thing or a bad thing? Based off my exposure to standardized testing, I do not agree with the concept that standardized testing for the four reasons that I'm going to tell you. One, technical and educational inadequacies. Most tests do not meet the standards for educational and psychological testing. The second reason, overuse and misuse. Tremendous amounts of time and money are spent on these high-stakes tests. Teachers can change their curriculum around because of this high-stakes testing, and the child are the one that suffers because they're not getting all the information that they could be getting. 3, unsuitability for the population. Evidence is strong that testing procedures are unfair to poor children, or from racial or ethnic backgrounds, ELLs, and divergent or creative thinkers. And the last reason, undue influence on education. Like I said earlier, teachers change the curriculum to reflect the standardized testing and fear of job security. So the role of standardized testing in early childhood education. Well, the main roles for standardized testing are, 1, the tests are administered to gauge whether children are making progress towards state and national standards. 2, to check on acquisition of essential literacy skills. Or 3, to hold teachers accountable for the direct results of their students' education. Alternatives to standardized testing. I am going to list 3. The first one is sampling, a simple approach, the same test, just fewer of them. Accountability could be achieved at the district level by administering traditional standardized tests to a statistically representative sampling of students, rather than every student every year. The other one could be stealth assessment, similar math and reading data, but collected a different way. It could be like a portfolio, things used throughout the year. The third would be multiple measures. Incorporate more and different kinds of data on student progress and school performance into accountability measures. These could be social or emotional skills, surveys, game-based assessments, performance or portfolio-based assessments, or even inspections. And then, of course, my bibliography, which I ended up using 3 references for my presentation. The first was Put to the Test, An Educator and Consumer's Guide to Standardized Testing. That's by G.W. Bracey. Of course, our text, Assessing and Guiding Young Children's Development and Learning, 6th edition, by McAfee, Long, and Bordrova. And finally, Motivation to Learn, Integrating Theory and Practice, and that's by Stipek in 2002. So that's kind of a breakdown of the assignment that I did, and if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy.